Hey, what's up YouTube? Brian Fagioli here. And in front of me, this is the Google speaker that I have in my office. And it's pretty darn good. It's a Google Home type device. It has a Google Assistant built in, but it's by JBL. JBL makes awesome sounding speakers, and this works great. So let's just say, hey Google, what's the weather today?
It'll be mostly cloudy there today, with a forecasted high of 54 and a low of 48. Right now, it's 48 degrees and partly cloudy.
All right, thank you. And what's really great about the speakers, it has great sound quality. It's a nice size. It has these nice buttons on the top, blah, blah, blah. The downside is that I find when I'm streaming audio from, let's say, Sirius XM or something else, the audio cuts in and out. And that seems to be a common problem with the speaker, and that's probably why I believe this was discontinued and it was sold at like ridiculously discounted prices. I mean, you can get this for pretty inexpensive. But let's just shove that to the side, because now the new speaker that's going to go in my office that's going to replace that is this guy. And this, as I'm sure you know, is the Nest Audio. So this is the new speaker from Google. It is only $99. So it's $100, but it promises better audio quality than their previous, Nest Home device. Right now, so I have a few Google devices in my home because I love these things. So the JBL speaker that I showed, that's in my office. In my bedroom, I use a Nest Hub, which is like a little tablet-y thing. And in my living room, I have a Nest Hub Mini, the mini speaker. And the mini speaker actually sounds really good. So I'm going to leave that in my living room, but the JBL speaker is going to get kicked to the curb only because the audio constantly cuts out. I'm trying to listen to like Sirius XM. I'll say like, play this station, and I'll listen to like Hip Hop Nation is one station I really love. And as I'm listening to it, the audio cuts out, and it's just so annoying. It ruins the listening experience. So this speaker should not have that problem. This is directly from Google. This is the Nest Audio. So let's go ahead and just do an unboxing. So on the side here, it says, you say, hey, whatever it is. I'm not going to say it because I have the speaker next to me. And it says things you can do, like play some music, turn up the volume, what song is this, play party playlist, blah, blah, blah. I use these speakers to also control my lights. So in my home, I have some Wemo outlet adapters that I have plugged into lamps. So I can say, hey, G, turn on the living room lamp, and the lamp turns on. I also have some Halloween lights in my living room right now, like a pumpkin that is plugged into Wemo. So I can say, hey, G, turn on the pumpkin, and the pumpkin turns on. Things like that. It's really cool. So let's see. Fill the room with crisp vocals and rich bass from the built-in tweeter and woofer. Ask your Google Assistant to stream your favorite music, news, radio, and more. Now, the downside is I am a big Apple Music user, so Apple Music is not compatible. I can use this, of course, as a Bluetooth speaker, but right now, Apple Music is not supported by the Google Home devices. So, and Apple Music is really great, and I would love to switch over to YouTube Music, but I find YouTube Music to just be a little lacking comparatively. YouTube Music, not to go off on a tangent, YouTube Music seems to clutter. I like to keep my music and my YouTube stuff separately. So when I like an artist on YouTube Music, it seems to add them to like my YouTube, and then it gets all cluttered. I have specific YouTube, with things like social media, with YouTube, with TikTok, I don't like to follow a lot of people. I like to just have a small number of people. It makes it easier for me just to maintain, and that things don't get lost. So I don't want every musical artist that I like added to my YouTube just because I added them on YouTube Music. So that's a big issue that I have with that. But it'll also work with like Spotify, it shows here. Spotify is a service I might switch to eventually as well over Apple Music. We'll see, pricing, things like that. This does support Sirius XM. Pandora is always great. You have Google Duo, Google Calendar, Google Maps. Not exactly sure how Google Maps works with the speaker. I guess you could ask it for directions or something. And Philips Hue is listed here as a lighting system you can control. But there's so many home devices you can control with this. I also have my thermostat hooked up. So like I can go like, hey Google, what's the inside temperature right now?
Heating is set to 66 with a current temperature of 68.
Okay, so I have my heating on because it started to get cold. It was like 61, 62 in the house. So I can say, it's set to 66 right now. I can say, hey, Google, set the thermostat to 67.
Sure, setting hallway to 67 degrees.
And I named my thermostat hallway because it's in the hallway. And this is a Nest thermostat that I have hooked up. So there you go. You can do a lot of cool things with these Google Home speakers. And I'm just going to rip into this plastic. It came with the plastic already kind of cut, so I'm not able to cut into it with my knife or anything. But let's just go ahead and take a look. So with that opened, how the heck do you open this box? Does it open from the bottom? I think the bottom opens up. Yeah, there we go. Wow. So right on top is a speaker. It's really heavy. It's surprisingly heavy. What else do we have in this box? Anything? Well, obviously we have the power adapter. Is there anything else in there? Does this pull up? Okay, we get a blue booklet. The box is now empty. We get this blue booklet. Get started, and being part of your home means respecting your privacy. This is nice. I appreciate Google including this. Microphones are built in. It kind of gives you some information on how to turn off the microphones, how it works. I trust Google more than I trust Amazon. So like I originally had some Alexa devices in my home and I replaced them with Google. And I know Google is an advertising company and they collect information. There's nothing wrong with collecting information. And I've done work as a data analyst before, and just having data is great because you can use the data to tell stories. It's really nice to have data. So collecting data is not a problem. It's really how you protect the data and what you're doing with the data. I felt comfortable with Google because they're doing a lot of cool stuff and they have privacy policies. I feel comfortable giving my data to Google. It's my choice. I make that decision. When I had the Alexa, I'm thinking, well, Amazon is a online seller, a store, and they're just expanding so much, and they're now like Whole Foods and blah, blah, blah. And I'm not a paranoid guy, but when I weigh it out and I say, do I trust Amazon with my data or do I trust Google with my data? I feel like Google is a company that's more prepared to handle data than like Amazon as like a seller. They're just selling things. It's like, I'm gonna trust Google. So I switched my home to Google Assistants. So this speaker is actually really beautiful. It's covered in a fabric. This one is gray. I believe it comes in a few different colors. It's covered in plastic. I'm covered in fiber on the fabric. On the bottom is just this rubber with the G logo, and I guess it stops it from skidding. There's nothing else around it. Some people have called this like a bean shape. You plug in the power there. This is to mute the microphone. So that's all that there is, and I really like that design, is that there's nothing to it. So again, I'm just going to show off this JBL speaker a little bit here. So you can see the top has these buttons like microphone on and Bluetooth pairing and this and that. You know how many times I use those buttons? Never use those buttons. So it's cool that it has those buttons there, but less is more with these things. So we have this beautiful power plug. It actually looks really nice. It's a barrel style plug. I'm surprised Google doesn't go with like a USB Type-C power for this, but this is fine. Plugs into the back. And then you have nothing but this microphone mute button, which I won't use because it's kind of the point of the speaker. I guess if you were doing something that you absolutely didn't want anybody to hear, you could always come back here and mute the microphone. I don't have a need for that, so I'll never look at that. And what's really cool is on the front, you would almost expect Google to put like a G here or the Nest logo. There's nothing. Like you look at this and it's just like, people walk into your home, they're gonna be like, what the heck is that thing? It's just like a piece of fabric. No, that's a speaker. That's a speaker. And just everything about it is really nice. I like the size, I like the look. When I first saw pictures online, I was like, what the heck is that thing? And now that I'm looking at it, it just looks really nice. It doesn't, when you have a home, you want to put things into your home, you don't want it to be the focal point, right? You don't want people to walk in and go, like the new, what is that thing called? The HomePod from Apple. They have this new HomePod Mini, which costs $100, same price as this. And it looks like this really ugly like candle, and the top like lights up. And it's just kind of an obnoxious thing that if you put that in like your living room, people are going, what the heck is that ugly thing on your... This instead, this new Nest Audio, you put this in your living room, people aren't even going to really notice it. They're not going to be like, tell me more about this fabric-shaped bean thing in your... It looks like you know, it'll blend in. It'll blend into your home, you know, and I like that. I really like everything about this. The packaging is nice. The power plug is nice. It's nicely wrapped up. There's no nonsense in the box. It actually came with information about privacy, which is a huge thing. I really love that. Really, really great. So I'm looking forward to testing this out and replacing my JBL speaker, which, again, I want to stress, JBL makes great speakers. This particular home device, which I'm just gonna unplug it right now. Unplug it just so you guys can see it. It's a really nice design, this JBL. It has like this like woofer in the back with like a ported hole. Really cool design. It just, you know, it just doesn't work well with streaming. I don't know what to say. And you know, looking at those two together, this is more of a nice futuristic design. This is more of like an old school design, having all these buttons and nonsense, and you have the JBL logo here. It's incredible. There's not even a logo on this. Like there's like it's surprising that Google doesn't put like a little G here, right? Like sewn into the fabric. You know, it would look really nice. Would be like a piece of leather or something with the Google logo, you know, something. But no, it's just meant to like be a part of your home. It doesn't stand out like this thing, which this, believe it or not, is lighter than this. This feels lighter to me, I think. The Nest Audio is really surprisingly heavy. I don't know if there's a weight in there to like weigh it down or something, but it's really, really heavy. It's shockingly heavy, actually. All right, folks, so that's the Nest Audio. If you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comments below, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Again, this has been covered a lot already in the media, so there's not a lot of unanswered questions. But if you have absolutely anything you want to know about this, I am going to answer that for you. You can also reach me on Twitter at Brian Fagioli. I'm probably more likely to check that than I am on YouTube. YouTube's commenting isn't the best, so sometimes people will comment and I don't always see it. So you can always reach me at Brian Fagioli on Twitter, where my DMs are open for questions. All right, folks, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.